The year was 2387, and Earth looked dead from space. No lights shone from the continents and no ships moved between the planets. The blue world that once held billions of humans now seemed empty and cold. Giant metal stations floated around the planet like sleeping giants, but they had been dark for 300 years. Captain Zektar commanded 12 ships from the Vorthak Empire. His people looked like giant insects with hard shells and sharp claws. They had come to Earth to steal metal from the old human machines. The Galactic Council had told everyone that humans were extinct. They said the humans had killed themselves, in wars long ago. Now anyone could take what they wanted from human space. Zektar looked at his screens as they flew toward Earth's moon. The biggest human station was there. It was huge, like a metal mountain floating in space. His crew was excited because the station probably had enough rare metals to make them all rich. They had done this before at other dead human worlds. The humans had built amazing things, but they were all gone now. But deep under Earth's surface, something was waking up. 3 miles below where Colorado Springs used to be, lights began to flicker in a hidden room. Machines that had slept for centuries started to hum with power. In the center of the room, a man opened his eyes. Adam Carter had been asleep for 300 years. He was the last guardian of Earth, and he was not completely human anymore. During the final war against the alien Xerians, human scientists had done something incredible. They had connected Adam's mind to every defense system on Earth. He could control all the weapons and shields and computers at the same time. He was part human and part machine. When the last human ships left Earth, Adam had stayed behind. He went into deep sleep to wait for his people to come home. The machines kept his body alive while his mind dreamed of better days. Now alien ships were near Earth and the Guardian was waking up. Adam's awareness spread out like ripples in water. He could feel the alien ships moving through space. He could sense their thoughts and read their computer systems. Through quantum links that moved faster than light, he looked into their databases. What he found made him angry. The galaxy thought humans were dead. The other species had divided up human worlds like hungry animals fighting over meat. They had erased humanity from their history books. They acted like humans had never existed at all. But Adam knew the truth. The evacuation had worked. Somewhere among the stars, human colonies were growing and building new lives. They had hidden from the galaxy on purpose. Earth had been left as a trap for anyone stupid enough to try to claim the human homeworld. The Guardian systems came online one by one. The orbital stations around Earth began to glow with power. Weapons that could destroy moons started charging up. The moon itself began to change as hidden doors opened for the first time in centuries. Captain Zektar saw the lights and laughed. His crew was nervous, but he told them it was just old machines turning on by accident. Dead civilizations sometimes had automatic systems that still worked. It meant nothing. A voice spoke in perfect galactic standard language. You have 30 seconds to leave Earth space. This is your only warning. Zektar's mandibles clicked with amusement. Ghost signals from a dead world, he told his crew. Keep working. There are no humans left to stop us. Adam counted down the seconds in his enhanced mind. He gave them exactly 30 seconds like he promised. When the time was up, he acted. The lead Vorthak ship simply disappeared. There was no explosion or flash of light. One moment it was there, and the next moment it was gone. The other alien crews stared at their screens in shock. Their most advanced sensors could not tell them what had happened. Adam's voice echoed through all the remaining ships. I am the guardian of Earth. I am the sword that protects the innocent and the shield that stands against the darkness. You have come to steal from the dead, but the dead are not as gone as you think. Leave now or join your friends in nothing. The Vorthak ships tried to run, but their engines would not start. Adam had learned to control more than just Earth's weapons during his long sleep. He could reach into their computers and stop their machines from working. The alien crews sat trapped in space while the Guardian decided what to do with them. After a long moment, Adam let them go. Their engines started working again and they fled as fast as they could. But he made sure they would remember this day. He planted a message in their computers that would activate when they got home. The message was simple. Earth remembers. Earth is protected. Tell the galaxy that the Guardian has awakened. As the alien ships disappeared into hyperspace, Adam began his real work. Hidden factories deep under Earth's surface came online. Machines that had been sleeping for centuries started building again. The Guardian was getting ready for what he knew would come next. News of the Earth incident would spread through the galaxy like fire. Other species would remember the old stories about human technology and human stubbornness. They would remember why their ancestors had feared to fight humanity in the first place. But Adam had one more thing to do before the galaxy came looking for answers. He sent a special signal into deep space using quantum transmitters that could reach across impossible distances. The message would find every hidden human colony in the galaxy. The signal was short, but it meant everything. Earth calls her children home. The Guardian awakens. It is time. Adam settled back into his command chair and waited. He had waited 300 years already. He could wait a little longer for his people to come home. But this time would be different. This time, humanity would not run or hide. This time, they would take back what was theirs. The Guardian of Earth was awake, and the galaxy would soon remember why they had once trembled at the mention of humanity. The news spread through the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Captain Zektar had barely made it back to Vorthak space when every communication network was buzzing with reports. A dead human world had destroyed a military vessel with unknown weapons. The extinct species had somehow returned from the grave. Admiral Kresha of the Zentari Republic was the first leader to understand what had really happened. She was old enough to remember the stories her grandmother told about the Human-Zerian War. Late at night in her private office, she pulled up classified files that most people had forgotten existed. The documents told of something called the Guardian Protocol. Human scientists had created the ultimate defense system by merging a human mind with planetary computers. The Guardian could control every weapon and shield on an entire world. The file said the project had been completed just before the human evacuation. Meanwhile on Earth, Adam Carter worked without rest. His consciousness flowed through every system on the planet like blood through veins. Deep underground, massive, factories hummed back to life. Robots that had waited centuries for orders began building ships and weapons again. The Guardian had learned much during his long sleep. His mind had grown beyond what any human had ever achieved. He could process information faster than the most advanced computers. He could see patterns in quantum mechanics that even alien scientists missed. 300 years of meditation had made him something more than human. But Adam never forgot that he was still human at heart. He remembered his childhood in Denver. He remembered his wife Sarah, who had died in the Zerion attacks. He remembered holding his daughter Kate before putting her on the last evacuation ship. The love and loss that made him human also made him the perfect guardian. The signal he had sent into deep space was finding its targets. Hidden human colonies scattered across the galaxy received the quantum pulse. On distant worlds where humans had built new lives, people stopped what they were doing and looked up at the stars. Captain Lisa Morgan was commanding a mining operation in the Outer Rim when the signal reached her ship. She was third-generation exile, born on a colony ship that had fled Earth when she was a baby. Her parents had told her stories about the blue world where humanity began, but she had never seen it herself. The message made her cry. After 3 centuries of hiding and running, Earth was calling them home. Lisa immediately began preparing her ships for the long journey back to human space. She was not the only one making that choice. Across the galaxy, human colonies received the Guardian's call. Engineer Jake Sullivan started moving the industrial ships from the Kepler system. Commander Rachel Davis gathered her fleet from the hidden bases beyond the galactic rim. Dr. Peter Williams began loading his medical research ships with 3 centuries of advanced technology. But the most important response came from Admiral Helen Pierce. She commanded humanity's secret fleet from a base hidden in dark space between galaxies. For 300 years, she had been preparing for this moment. Her ships were larger and more powerful than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The alien Governments watched in growing fear as human vessels emerged from hiding. These were not the desperate refugees they expected to find. The ships were advanced beyond anything in current galactic technology. Their hulls gleamed with materials that seemed to bend light itself. Their engines left trails of energy that made space itself shimmer. The Vorthak Empire demanded answers from the Galactic Council. How had humans survived when all the surveys showed their worlds were empty? Where had they been hiding for 3 centuries? What kind of weapons had destroyed their salvage ship without leaving any trace? The Council had no answers because they had made a terrible mistake. When humanity evacuated Earth, they had assumed the species was finished. They divided up human territory and pretended the humans had never existed. But humans were very good at hiding when they needed to be. Other species began remembering old fears. The Kalari had fought humans once and barely survived. The Nexus Collective still had battle records showing human ships doing impossible things. Even the mighty Xerians had never fully defeated humanity in open war. On Earth, Adam watched the galactic networks with satisfaction. Fear was spreading through alien governments like a disease. They were starting to remember why their ancestors had been careful never to make humans truly angry. The Guardian spent his time upgrading Earth's defenses. The orbital stations had been impressive 3 centuries ago, but now they were magnificent. Each platform could project shields across entire star systems. Their weapons could crack planets or slice through space itself. The moon revealed its true nature as construction platforms emerged from beneath its surface. What everyone thought was a natural satellite was actually humanity's greatest fortress. The entire moon was hollow and filled with weapons that could destroy fleets. 3 months after the first incident, human ships began arriving at Earth. Lisa Morgan's convoy was among the first to reach the solar system. She stood on her bridge and stared at the blue world through tears of joy. Earth was more beautiful than any story had described. But she was also shocked by what she found. The planet was not dead at all. Cities glowed beneath the clouds and green plants covered the land again. The Guardian had spent 3 centuries healing the damage from ancient wars. Earth was alive and waiting for its children to come home. Adam spoke to the arriving ships through their communication systems. His voice was warm but carried the power of worlds behind it. Welcome home, children of Terra. You have been gone too long, but you are not forgotten. Today we stand together again. Today we show the galaxy that humanity endures. The human fleet grew larger every day. Ships arrived from colonies that other species never knew existed. Admiral Pierce's massive vessels took positions throughout the solar system. Her flagship alone was 3 kilometers long and bristled with weapons that made alien admirals wake up screaming. The galaxy watched in terror as humanity revealed its true strength. They had not been hiding because they were weak. They had been hiding because they were preparing. 3 centuries of exile had taught them patience and made them stronger than ever before. Now the Guardian of Earth was fully awake, and humanity was coming home. The aliens who had divided up human space were about to learn a painful lesson. You could never truly kill an idea, and you could never truly destroy a people who refused to give up. The stage was set for the greatest battle the galaxy had ever seen. Fear gripped the galaxy like a cold hand around the throat. Every major government held emergency meetings as reports flooded in about human ships appearing in systems that were supposed to be empty. The species they had declared extinct was not only alive but building fleets that dwarfed anything the aliens possessed. Overlord Vexthul of the Xerian Collective slammed his clawed fist against his command table. The holographic display showed human vessels moving through space with impossible speed and grace. These were not the primitive ships his people had fought centuries ago. These were weapons of war beyond current understanding. The Xerians had never forgotten their hatred for humanity. Even after declaring victory in the ancient war, they still told stories about human stubbornness and human technology. Now those old nightmares were becoming real again. Vexthul gathered his war council and made a declaration that would doom his people. The humans think they can return and reclaim what we have taken. They are wrong. We finished them once, and we will finish them again. This time there will be no survivors to hide among the stars. Other species heard these words and made their own choices. Some, like the Kalari, tried to stay neutral. They remembered fighting humans before and wanted no part of that mistake again. But others joined the Xerian cause out of greed or fear or simple stupidity. The Vorthak Empire still burned with shame over losing their salvage fleet. Their pride demanded revenge even if their common sense warned against it. The hostile corporate syndicate saw human space as valuable territory they did not want to give up. A dozen smaller species chose sides based on old grudges or new opportunities. On Earth, Adam Carter felt every political move through his quantum networks. He could read encrypted messages and listen to private conversations across the galaxy. The Guardian saw the coalition forming and prepared accordingly. Admiral Helen Pierce stood in the command center buried beneath Earth's surface. She was a tall woman with gray hair and eyes that had seen too much war. Her uniform bore no rank insignia because there was no higher authority than the Guardian himself. "They are making the same mistake they made 300 years ago," she said as she studied the tactical displays. "They think humans fight like other species. They think we will break if they hit us hard enough." Adam's voice filled the chamber from speakers built into the walls. "Let them come, Helen. Let them bring everything they have. It is time the galaxy remembered why they once feared to speak our name." Human ships continued arriving from across the galaxy. Each vessel brought news of colonies that had thrived in exile. The Kepler system had become an industrial powerhouse. The Centauri colonies had perfected new medical technology. The hidden bases beyond the rim had built weapons that could tear holes in space itself. Rick Turner piloted one of the new fighters that emerged from Earth's factories. He was young and eager, born on a colony ship and raised on stories of the homeworld. His fighter was small but packed with technology that alien scientists would not understand for centuries. The ship responded to his thoughts through neural interfaces developed during the exile. Rick could make his fighter dance through space like a living thing. The AI systems were connected directly to the Guardian's consciousness, giving every human pilot reflexes that seemed to predict the future. Dr. Peter Williams brought medical advances that shocked even Adam. Humans could now live for thousands of years if they chose. Their bodies could be healed from almost any injury. Their minds could be enhanced beyond normal limits while keeping their essential humanity intact. But the most impressive arrivals were the deep space construction ships. These massive vessels began building new orbital platforms around Earth using materials that did not exist in normal space. They worked with technologies that bent physics and shaped reality itself. The alien coalition watched these preparations with growing dread. Intelligence reports described human weapons that fired bullets made of collapsed matter, ships that could become invisible or phase through solid objects, defensive systems that turned incoming attacks back on their sources. Admiral Kresha of the Centauri Republic tried one last time to prevent the coming war. She sent a message directly to Earth requesting permission to speak with the Guardian. Her ship approached under a flag of truce while her crew prayed to whatever gods they believed in. Adam granted her request because he respected courage even in his enemies. His holographic image appeared on her bridge as a man who looked both ancient and ageless. Power flowed around him like visible energy. "Speak," the Guardian commanded. His voice carried the weight of worlds and the patience of geological ages. "Guardian of Earth," Kresha began carefully. "The Centauri Republic wishes to avoid the coming conflict. We propose that the Galactic Council formally recognize human claims to their ancestral territory. Equal membership in galactic affairs could benefit everyone." Adam was silent for a long moment while processing information from across human space. When he spoke again, his words carried a coldness that made the alien admiral shiver. "The galaxy had 3 centuries to offer us equality. Instead, you declared us extinct and divided our worlds among yourselves. You hunted down human refugees and sold them as slaves. You erased our history and pretended we never existed." The Guardian's image leaned forward and Kresha felt like she was staring into the heart of a star. "Humanity no longer needs the Council's recognition. We will take back what was always ours. We will protect the innocent and punish the guilty. And if any species threatens human space again, they will learn why the very stars once trembled." At our approach, Kresha left Earth space with a message she wished she did not have to deliver. The Guardian had rejected peace and chosen war. Humanity would not be satisfied with simple recognition. They wanted justice for 3 centuries of exile and suffering. The Coalition fleet began gathering in the Proxima system just outside human space. Thousands of ships from dozens of species assembled for what they believed would be a quick victory. They outnumbered the human fleet 10 to 1, and their combined firepower could glass entire worlds. But Adam Carter had spent 300 years preparing for this moment. Every calculation had been made and every variable accounted for. The Guardian's networks extended throughout the solar system and beyond. His consciousness touched every human ship and every weapon system. As the alien fleet prepared to attack, Adam sent one final message to the galaxy. It went out on every frequency and in every language. The words were simple, but they carried a promise that would reshape the balance of power forever. I am Adam Carter, guardian of Earth and protector of humanity. To those who come in peace, you will find welcome. To those who come with war, you will find only death. We are no longer the refugees who fled in the night. We are the storm that breaks on the shore of eternity. Come then, and learn what it means to face humanity unleashed. Far greatest battle in galactic history was about to begin. The Coalition fleet assembled in Proxima Centauri like a swarm of angry insects. 5,000 ships from 30 different species hung in space around the red dwarf star. Admiral Vexthul commanded from his massive dreadnought, while lesser commanders argued over tactics and glory. The alien leaders still believed they were fighting the same humans who had fled Earth centuries ago. They thought superior numbers would overwhelm any defense. They had forgotten that humans did not fight like other species. Humans fought like cornered animals with nothing left to lose. Back in the Sol system, Admiral Helen Pierce reviewed her forces with satisfaction. The human fleet numbered only 800 ships, but each one was a masterpiece of engineering. They had been built with 3 centuries of technological advancement and powered by energy sources that alien science could barely comprehend. Captain Lisa Morgan commanded one of the heavy cruisers in the main battle line. Her ship was sleek and deadly, covered in armor that could absorb energy attacks and redirect them back at enemies. The weapon systems were connected directly to the Guardian's tactical networks. Rick Turner sat in his fighter cockpit reviewing final preparations. Around him, 500 other pilots prepared for the battle of their lives. Their fighters were small but incredibly fast, equipped with weapons that could punch through the heaviest armor. Each pilot was linked to Adam's consciousness through quantum neural networks. On Earth, the Guardian made his final preparations. The orbital platforms had been upgraded beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Each station could project defensive shields across entire sectors of space. Their weapons drew power directly from the planet's core through taps that reached into alternate dimensions. The moon revealed its true nature as massive doors opened across its surface. What everyone had thought was a natural satellite was actually humanity's greatest weapon. The entire interior had been hollowed out and filled with manufacturing facilities and defensive systems. Dr. Peter Williams worked frantically in his medical bay preparing for casualties. His advanced healing systems could bring people back from injuries that would kill normal humans. Nanomedicine could repair damage at the cellular level, while cybernetic implants could replace destroyed organs. Engineer Jake Sullivan oversaw the industrial platforms that continued building even as battle approached. His factories could produce new ships faster than enemies could destroy them. The construction systems used self-replicating technology that turned raw materials into finished weapons. The alien fleet began moving towards Sol with confidence born of ignorance. They expected to sweep aside human defenses and claim the solar system within hours. Overlord Vexthul had promised his followers that Earth would burn before the day was over. But Adam Carter had been preparing for this moment since the day he first became the Guardian. His consciousness extended throughout the solar system like an invisible web. He could feel every approaching ship and predict their movements before the aliens knew what they were going to do themselves. The first surprise came when the Coalition fleet reached the outer edge of the solar system. Their long-range sensors detected defensive platforms around Neptune and Uranus that had not been there during their reconnaissance missions. The humans had been building defenses throughout the system while keeping them hidden. Admiral Vexthul ordered his scouts forward to probe the human defenses. 20 fast ships approached the outer platforms expecting to find ancient technology they could easily overcome. Instead, they found weapons that fired projectiles at near light speed and defensive shields that seemed to bend space itself. The scout ships simply vanished in flashes of exotic energy. Their destruction was so complete that not even debris remained. The alien admiral stared at his displays in shock while his tactical officers tried to understand what had happened. Adam's voice echoed across the coalition fleet using their own communication systems. You have entered the domain of Earth. You come as invaders to steal and destroy. But this is not the same world you remember. This is humanity perfected through 3 centuries of exile and pain. The Guardian's words carried power that made alien crews feel fear in their bones. You outnumber us 10 to 1 and think that gives you advantage. You are wrong. Numbers mean nothing when facing those who refuse to yield. Turn back now and live. Continue forward and join the darkness between stars. Vexthul roared his defiance and ordered the attack to begin. The massive fleet surged forward like a tidal wave of death and destruction. Energy weapons began charging, and missile tubes opened their hungry mouths. The aliens were confident they could overwhelm any defense through sheer firepower. The human response was swift and terrible. The platforms around the outer planets opened fire with weapons that seemed to tear holes in reality itself. Streams of exotic particles lanced out across impossible distances and struck the approaching fleet with devastating effect. But the real shock came when Admiral Pierce's ships engaged the enemy. Human vessels moved with precision that seemed impossible. They struck like surgical instruments, targeting command ships and communication relays. Each attack was perfectly coordinated through the Guardian's tactical networks. Rick Turner launched, his fighter with 400 others in the first wave. His small ship danced through enemy fire like it was alive, the neural interface letting him move faster than thought itself. Around him, other human pilots performed similar miracles of skill and timing. The coalition fleet began to realize they were not fighting a normal battle. Human ships seemed to know where attacks were coming before the aliens fired their weapons. Defensive systems turned incoming missiles back on their sources. Energy beams bent around human vessels like they were made of light. Captain Lisa Morgan brought her cruiser into close combat with an alien dreadnought. Her ship was 1/10 the size of the enemy vessel, but her weapons cut through its armor like it was made of paper. The aliens had numbers, but humans had technology that bordered on magic. The battle that was supposed to last hours was over in less than 1. The coalition fleet found itself scattered and broken, their command structure shattered by precise human attacks. Ships that tried to retreat discovered their hyperdrives had been disabled by some unknown technology. Admiral Vexthul watched his fleet die around him and felt the cold touch of defeat. His own dreadnought was surrounded by human ships that moved like ghosts through space. His weapons could not lock onto targets that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. But the Zarian leader refused to accept defeat. If he could not claim victory, he would at least deny it to his enemies. His ship had one weapon that could destroy entire planets, a doomsday device built during the ancient wars. He would use it to crack Earth itself. The massive weapon began, charging while human ships tried to break through his defenses. Vexthul laughed as power built in the core of his ship. Even if it killed him, he would have the satisfaction of watching humanity burn. Adam Carter felt the weapon charging and made his own decision. The Guardian platforms focused their combined power not on destroying the alien ship, but on capturing it. Energy fields stronger than gravity itself reached out and grasped the dreadnought like a giant hand. Slowly and inevitably, the Zarian ship was pulled toward Earth, despite its engines screaming at full power. Vexthul realized what was happening and tried to fire his planet killer early, but the Guardian systems had already taken control of his weapons. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as the massive alien dreadnought was dragged through Earth's atmosphere like a meteor. It crashed into what had once been the Pacific Ocean, creating a crater that could be seen from orbit. The impact sent shockwaves around the planet, but Earth's shields absorbed the damage easily. In the aftermath of the battle, the surviving alien ships found themselves trapped in space around Earth. Their crews waited in terror for the Guardian's judgment, while human vessels surrounded them like sharks circling wounded prey. Adam's voice spoke to the defeated fleet with the weight of absolute authority. Your leader chose to threaten the homeworld of humanity. Now he sleeps forever in the depths of our ocean. The rest of you have a choice: surrender and live, or join him in the darkness. One by one, alien commanders began broadcasting surrender signals. The greatest fleet ever assembled had been broken in less than an hour by a force they could not understand. The age of human exile was ending, and a new age was about to begin. The silence that followed the battle was more terrifying than the fighting itself. Across the galaxy, every government and military force watched their censors in disbelief. The greatest fleet ever assembled had been destroyed in 47 minutes by a human force 1/10 its size. Admiral Kresha of the Zentari Republic sat in her command center with her head in her hands. The tactical recordings showed human ships moving like they existed outside normal physics. Their weapons fired projectiles that seemed to bend space itself, while their defenses turned enemy attacks into harmless light. On Earth, Adam Carter felt the weight of victory settling on his consciousness, like a heavy cloak. The Guardian's networks processed thousands of surrender signals from alien ships trapped in the solar system. Fear radiated from their crews like heat from a fire. But Adam took no joy in the slaughter. Each destroyed ship had carried living beings with families and dreams. The Guardian remembered his own humanity even as he wielded power beyond mortal understanding. War was sometimes necessary, but it was never something to celebrate. Admiral Helen Pierce coordinated the cleanup operations while her crews secured prisoners and salvaged alien technology. The human fleet had taken minimal casualties thanks to the Guardian's tactical coordination. Only 12 fighters had been lost, and even those pilots were rescued by medical teams before their injuries became fatal. Captain Lisa Morgan brought her cruiser alongside a surrendering Vorthak destroyer. The alien crew was so terrified they could barely operate their own systems. She remembered her grandmother's stories about humans begging for mercy from these same species during the evacuation. How times had changed. Rick Turner landed his fighter on Earth for the first time in his life. The young pilot had been born in exile, but now he stood on the soil of humanity's birth world. The air smelled of growing things, and the sky was bluer than any colony world he had ever seen. Dr. Peter Williams worked tirelessly to treat wounded aliens alongside human casualties. His medical bays made no distinction between species when it came to preserving life. The advanced healing technology could repair almost any injury regardless of the patient's biology. Engineer Jake Sullivan began the massive task of processing the captured alien vessels. Some would be studied for their technology while others would be converted for human use. The industrial platforms worked around the clock to integrate new materials and designs. News of humanity's victory spread through the galaxy faster than light itself. Species that had claimed human worlds suddenly found their populations demanding immediate withdrawal. No one wanted to face the wrath of the Guardian after seeing what had happened to the Coalition fleet. The Kalari Republic was the first to formally recognize human territorial claims. Their ambassador arrived at Earth within days carrying treaties that returned every world they had taken during the exile. They remembered fighting humans once before, and had no desire to repeat that mistake. Other governments quickly followed suit. The corporate syndicate abandoned their mining operations in human space and fled back to their core worlds. The Nexus Collective released all human prisoners and offered reparations for centuries of enslavement. But not everyone was willing to accept the new reality. Scattered Xerion holdouts tried to organize resistance movements in the outer systems. Admiral Pierce dispatched human fleets to deal with these threats before they could grow into something more dangerous. The surviving alien species learned that humanity had indeed changed during their exile. These were not the desperate refugees who had fled Earth centuries ago. These were the descendants of those survivors, hardened by loss and strengthened by determination. Adam Carter addressed the galaxy through every communication network simultaneously. His holographic image appeared on worlds from the galactic core to the outer rim. The Guardian's words would reshape politics and diplomacy for generations to come. I am the Guardian of Earth, and I speak for all humanity. he began. His voice carried the authority of someone who had lived for centuries and seen the rise and fall of civilizations. For 300 years you told yourselves that we were extinct. You divided our worlds and enslaved our people. You tried to erase us from history itself. The Guardian's image seemed to look directly at each individual viewer across the galaxy. But humanity endures. We survived your attempts to destroy us. We grew stronger in exile while you grew weak from easy conquest. Now we have returned to reclaim what was always ours. Adam paused to let his words sink in before continuing. We do not seek revenge against those who wronged us. We seek justice and the restoration of balance. Human space will be human again. Our people will be free again. And anyone who threatens that freedom will face consequences beyond their ability to imagine. The Guardian's final words carried a promise that chilled alien leaders to their cores. We are no longer refugees hiding in the darkness. We are the inheritors of this galaxy, and we will not be denied our birthright again. Live in peace with us and prosper. Stand against us and learn why the ancient stars themselves once feared to shine too brightly in human space. In the months that followed, human colonies across the galaxy declared independence from their alien overlords. Most transitions were peaceful as few species were willing to test themselves against the might that had humbled the coalition fleet. Those who tried learned quickly that every human world now had a Guardian's protection. The age of human exile was truly over. Families that had been separated for generations were reunited on Earth and the colony worlds. Children born in hiding could finally walk freely under any sun without fear of persecution or slavery. Adam Carter remained on Earth as its eternal protector. His consciousness merged with the planet's defenses, and his awareness extending across the galaxy. He watched over humanity's expansion with the patience of geological ages and the love of a father for his children. The Guardian had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had returned not as conquerors, but as reclaimers of their rightful place among the stars. They brought with them technology that seemed like magic, and a determination that could move worlds. Other species adapted to the new reality or found themselves swept aside by the tide of human expansion. Trade agreements replaced conquest as the primary means of interaction. Diplomacy flourished where once only force had ruled, and in the depths of space where the ancient Xerion dreadnought lay buried in Earth's ocean, future generations would find a monument to the folly of threatening humanity. The Guardian's message was clear and eternal. Earth remembers, Earth protects, and Earth never forgives those who harm her children. The lost Guardian of Earth had awakened, and the galaxy looked on not in fear, but in wonder at what humanity could accomplish when they refused to surrender to despair. The stars themselves seemed brighter now that humans walked among them again, carrying the light of hope to every corner of the cosmic dark.